The story begins as a boy named Rantaro confesses to his crush. The girl says that she likes him, but she gets sick at the thought of dating him. Rantaro is crushed by the rejection, and his friend accompanies him as they walk home. We learn that this was Rantaro's 100th rejection, and his friend makes fun of him for this. His friend wonders how he has asked out 100 girls, since they have only just graduated from middle school, and his friend wonders how he keeps getting rejected since he seems to have everything from good looks to good grades. This makes him more frustrated, but his friend bids him farewell, wishing him luck in high school. Rentaro visits a shrine, and prays to the god of love to get a girlfriend in high school, when suddenly he hears a voice, and a face pops out of the donation box, but the men tells him that he's the shrine's god. As he emerges, we see he has wings, and he tells Rentaro that he's destined to meet his soulmate in high school. In fact, he's actually going to have 100 soulmates. He'll have plenty to choose from. Rentaro is happy about this, but he swears to destroy the shrine if it turns out to be a lie. 1 month later, it's the first day of high school. Rentaro is on his way to the classroom when he bumps into 2 girls, Inda and Akari. They fell a shocking felling as their eyes meet, and Rentaro wonders if they're the soulmates that God told him about. He goes to help the 2 girls up, but Akari suddenly pretends to have twisted her ankle, asking him to help her to the nurse's office. Rentaro cries over hurting his soulmate, and Akari starts to like him even more, thinking he is a kind soul. As he helps her up, Inda gets jealous, and pretends that she's twisted her ankle as well. Rentaro starts hitting himself for hurting the 2 girls, and girls stand up as they get worried for him. Rentaro is surprised to see they can stand, but they quickly go back to pretending. Rentaro takes them to the nurse's office, but he feels as though he's the one who's being carried. The girls pretend to lose balance, and they start fighting over him, but they end up both clinging onto him. As they continue to the nurse's office, Rentaro introduces himself to the girls, and he finds out that they are all in the same class. There are 2 other girls that walk past, and they mention a field of pink leaf clover in the courtyard, saying if you ask anyone out with a pink 4-leaf clover, it's guaranteed they will say yes. Inda and Akari suddenly run off, and Rentaro is surprised their legs are fine. 3 hours after the end of school, we see Rentaro stay back to help teacher find his contact lens. As he prepares to go home, he wonders if he will see the girls again, and suddenly sees them in the courtyard. We see Inda looking for the 4-leaf clover, and Rentaro checks to see how it's going. Inda is shocked to see him, and she tries to pretend she wasn't looking for the clover. Rentaro notices that Akari isn't there, and offers Inda a drink. She is too shy to accept it, so Rentaro thinks she must find him weird since they only met, but she suddenly snatches it from him, saying she'll drink it all so it doesn't go to waste. He tells her she should go home, since it's getting late. She tells him not to tell her what to do, but she thanks him for the drink, and Rentaro realizes she's tsundere. Inda suddenly runs away, and Akari returns. Rentaro offers her a drink, but Akari intends to have an indirect kiss with him, so she asks to share half with him, saying she can't finish it by herself. Rentaro thought this would happen, so he already brought a smaller drink for her, but she insists that she can't finish it. He agrees and takes a sip, as he gives it to Akari, but Akari panics and it all spills on the ground. Rentaro thinks she's upset because she must really like the drink. He offers her his handkerchief to help her clean up, but Akari instead holds his hand and confesses her love to him, saying she has to do it fast because there's someone else who likes him. Rentaro delighted receiving his first ever confession, but before he can respond, Inda suddenly returns. She had bought a bunch of drinks to repay him, but she suddenly gets mad at Akari for asking him out, telling her to get in line. Rentaro surprised to hear that she likes him. She tries to deny it at first, but she ends up confessing to him as well. They ask him who he's going to choose, but he tells them to wait till the next day for his answer. He thinks about both of the girls, but he is just not able to choose. He visits the shrine, and God tells him that they are both his soulmates, so it's impossible for him to choose. He wonders what other people do if they meet 2 soulmates, but God tells him that people usually don't have more than one. The God reveals that when Rentaro was born he made a mistake, because he was busy watching TV, and he accidentally assigned Rentaro 100 soulmates instead of 1. Rentaro thinks he's doomed, but God warns him it'll only get worse, because if a person can't be with their soulmate, they'll die because they can't have the one they love. He thinks about one of the girls dying, so this just makes his decision even harder. However, he suddenly gets an idea, thinking he could reject them both, and then date both of them behind the other's back. The next morning the girls meet Rentaro, and are surprised to see him shether, but he finally answers that he wants to date both of them. Inda is shocked to hear this, and turns out he couldn't bring himself to lie to them, so he confesses that he loves them both and will do everything to make them the happiest girls ever. The girls are about to reject him, but he suddenly presents them both with pink 4-leaf clovers, which we learn he spent all night looking for. Inda mocks him for believing in the superstition, but Akari reminds her how they both believed in it. Inda refuses to accept 2 timings with him, but he tells them that he got the flowers because he saw how hard they were looking for them. So he just wanted to make them happy. The girls can't handle the gesture, and Akari agrees to be with him, thinking 2 timing with him would still make her happier than getting rejected. Inda refuses to let Akari have him to herself, so she also agrees to be with him. Akari teases her for changing her mind. Rentaro swears to cherish them both, but he wonders about his other 98 soulmates, and Inda starts to get jealous, but he grabs her hand as well. She acts like she doesn't enjoy it, but the 3 of them happily walk together. When they get to school, they see a boy running as he gets chased by the vice principal. Akari points out that she's known for being strict, and if she sees anyone running in the school, she will chase them down, and if they're caught, she'll give them a kiss. Rentaro thinks this would cause emotional damage, and Akari notes that the vice principal is former star sprinter, so it's impossible to get away from her. Akari goes on to ask Rentaro if he's ever kissed anyone, but he says that he hasn't since they are his first ever girlfriends. Hearing this, Akari and Inda realize that whoever acts first will be able to get his first kiss. The 3 spend the lunch break together, and while Inda is distracted by a cat, Akari feeds an egg roll to Rentaro. He likes it so much that he starts crying, and Inda gets jealous. She reveals that she made cookies for him, but when she tries to feed him, she ends up hitting him in the eye. He eats her cookies, telling her it was amazing, but Akari takes out a baki snack. As she opens it, she finds that the ends have been broken. She wonders how she can feed him without getting her hands dirty, so she ends up feeding him with her mouth. Seeing her so close, Rentaro thinks she is too cute. Akari starts biting the snack to get closer to him. Inda tries to join, but she ends up poking his other eye. As India's hair gets in the way, it causes Rentaro to sneeze, and he breaks his baki with Akari. Inda notices that his eyes are all red, so she worries that he has a cold, but she suddenly grabs onto him, telling him he can get better by passing it on. She tries to kiss him, but Akari gets in the way, saying they can't be sure that he has a cold. She tries to check his temperature through their lips, saying it's our family's tradition. However, Inda stops them and tries to make Rentaro pass out, so she can give him mouth to mouth. Akari pushes her away, and both are angry at each other. Rentaro finally realizes they were trying to kiss him. Inda disagrees with this, but her expression makes their motives obvious. He's stunned to know they want to kiss him, so he offers to kiss them because he's been wanting to do it as well. But Akari explains that he will have to choose who he will kiss first, causing them to fight with each other once again. However, Rentaro stops them, saying he has a solution that he had planned the day before because he was too excited. He thought a lot about how to make them happy. So for the first kiss they will keep was kissed first a mystery, so they will both have the same chance of being his first kiss, and he'll consider each of their kisses as his first kiss. The girls are concerned about how they can keep it a mystery, but Rentaro explains his plan, which involves wearing a mask and covering their ears. Using a dice, the girls will randomly determine their standing position, and he will kiss them without knowing who is who. He will then return to his original position, and the girls will once again randomize their positions, so in the end he will have no idea who he kissed first. Akari thinks it's a great idea, but Inda worries there's a chance he could cheat. So Rentaro reveals his solution, which is to pinky promise that they won't cheat. Inda thinks it's dumb, but Rentaro promises to stick a needle in his eye if he breaks the promise. The girls agree to the plan, and as they go about carrying it out, there is a gust of wind that lifts up Inda's skirt, and the cat suddenly starts clawing at it. Inda thinks it's Rentaro who's touching her, and she ends up kicking him away. She starts beating him up, but her headphones come out. She realizes it was the cat. They decide to try again, but with every try, something always goes wrong, and they are unable to kiss. Everyone's upset, and Inda points out the plan was faulty. This angers Akari, and they start blaming each other, and fighting over who Rentaro belongs to. He stops them and takes all the blame upon himself for not being experienced as he runs off. He calls out for the vice principal, and she suddenly shows up to punish him for running. She gets on top of him and he's scared to death, but Inda suddenly stops her. Akari pretends to see a school inspector, and the vice principal gets worried hearing this. She quickly crawls away. The girls wonder why Rentaro acted so rashly, but he says it's because he loves them both, and wants them to get along, so he'd rather ruin his first kiss than cause them to fight. But hearing this, both girls tell him he can kiss the other, not want him to waste his first kiss. Rentaro is surprised by this, but the girls can tell that they both really love him. Rentaro hugs them both, and he seems to come up with another plan. He suggests they could do a 3-way kiss. He thought they wouldn't go this at the start, but seeing them get along, He thinks it can work. The girls get embarrassed at the thought of kissing each other, but they end up agreeing, and the three finally get their first kiss. The following day, the girls and Rentaro at the library. Akari looks for a cookbook so she can make more food for him, but Inda fights with her over a book about winning a men through his stomach. Rentaro tells them to get along, reminds them how they both shared a kiss, and the girls become embarrassed. Rentaro looks around for another book, but he meets another girl who instantly gives him a shocking sensation, so he wonders if she's another one of his soulmate. The girl backs away, and Rentaro sees that she's the librarian. The girl doesn't speak, but points to phrases in her book to communicate with him. When Rentaro finds this confusing at first, so thinks they aren't meant to speak in the library, she asks him what he's looking for, and he tries to by mouth that he's looking for a story that's funny. The girl asks him why he's not talking, and he asks her the same thing. She apologizes and prepares to get someone else to help him, but he stops her, asking for her assistance. He asks for her recommendations for a romance story with a good ending, so she starts picking out some books for him, but Rentaro was shocked when she ends up picking out a mountain of books. The girl apologizes, telling him to just pick the ones he wants, but he tells her he'll take them all since she picked them for him. But as he goes to check them out, it turns out his library card isn't ready yet, so he can't borrow any of the books. But the girl offers him her own personal book. Rentaro happily accepts it, and he wonders about her name. The girl shows him her ID, and we learn her name is Shizuka. At night Rentaro reads the book, and it's a story about a princess and her knight. The knight swears his loyalty to her, even protecting her from a dragon. The two develop feelings for one another, but the princess is arranged to be married to another prince. The knight rushes out to her, wishing there was a way for them to defy their fates. Rentaro roots for them, but the story ends on a cliffhanger. The next day, Rentaro thanks Shizuka for the book, and he realizes that she brought him the second book. He excitedly accepts it, but thinks he needs to find a way to repay her. He buys a drink for her. They start talking about the book outside. Shizuka tells him that it's her favorite book, and Rentaro is impressed by how well she knows it, since she can find any phrase to use it to communicate. But she is just that he doesn't find her weird, revealing that she has never had a real friend. Hearing this, Rentaro gets an idea, and he asks to borrow her first book again. The next day, we see Shizuka has brought the third book for Rentaro, but his doesn't show up even after a few days. As she walks around the school, she notices Rentaro with Akari and Inda. They know how sleepy he looks, and he says he's been busy at night. The girls thinks about what he could be up to, but Rentaro continues to yawn. Akari suddenly kisses him, telling him she's giving him her energy. Rentaro hugs her, calling her an angel. She thinks about how the other girls found her weird for the way she talks, and even her mother thinks she's a freak, begging her to speak normally. She thinks nobody has time to talk to someone like her, but we see Rentaro come to find her, saying he can finally repay her for lending him her books. He gets her to install an app on her phone, and reveals he made a copy of the first book. He shows her how to select the words, and play it out as a voice. Shizuka knows the ebook was never released, so Rentaro manually typed out the whole book. Rentaro explains that when she talks with book, they never spoke face to face since she always had to look at the book, but he says that by using the app, they'll be able to look at each other while she talks. He hopes that it will help her with communicating, and he tells her to try it out. She tells him that she loves him, but she instantly takes it back, telling him not to worry. However, Rentaro tells her that he loves her too. Shizuka thinks they are destined not to be together, but Rentaro claims they will overcome it, even if it's their fate. He introduces Shizuka to the other girls, asking to add her as his newest girlfriend. Inda thinks he's insane, but Akari thanks him for staying with them, even after finding someone else. Rentaro claims his feelings towards them haven't changed, making an analogy that they're like an oil field, and Shizuka is just a completely new field, so adding her won't affect them in any way. In fact, he's planning on cherishing them even more than before. He promises to prove it with his actions, saying that if he ever fails them, he will atone for it by committing seppuku, even ordering a special knife from Amazon. Inda ends up accepting it, and Rentaro's girlfriends grow by one, but still 97 soulmates to go. Rentaro tells Akari and Inda about Shizuka, telling them that she has a cute mannerism while reading books, where she moves her toes like a puppy's tail, and it expresses how she feels. He reveals that Akari also has a cute habit, where she bites on her fingers while thinking, and he admits that this turns him on. He adds that when Inda is trying to brush off a compliment, she twirls her hair with her fingers, and finds this adorable. They are surprised that he was able to notice their behavior, thinking he must really care about them. He goes on to describe how Inda and Akari behave while they're kissing, but this causes Shizuka to lose her composure. as she realizes that he has already kissed them. Akari wonders if she is also interested in kissing, but she tells them that she's saving her first kiss for her marriage. Rentaro says that it's okay, saying he won't kiss her until she's ready, as Inda and Akari watch her, waiting for her to kiss him. But nothing happens. They feed Rentaro lunch, but Inda becomes angry, because Akari won't let her feed him. They proceed to stuff his mouth, as Shizuka enjoy her meal, observing them as they fight over him. But he realizes that she is too quiet, thinking she needs to get used to them. He thinks how people put up a front before getting to know someone, because they're afraid of how others will react if they display their emotions. So thinks it'll be easier to open up to someone who already knows how you feel, because once your true feelings have been revealed, you no longer have to be afraid of how other people will react. Rentaro asks the girls if they want to play a card game, saying the loser will be tickled by the winner. He believes that laughter is the best way to force someone to display their emotions. Thinking they will all be friends after they tickle each other, the girls thinks about Rentaro touching them, but they determine to lose against him. Rentaro is the winner of the first round, while Inda is the loser, but she appears to be happy about this. He proceeds to tickle her, as she tries to resist it, and she lies on the ground, but he stops as he realizes she's enjoying it a little too much. For the second round, Rentaro wins again, and the loser is Akari. She celebrates knowing he is about to touch her, and he starts tickling her, causing her to laugh, as she enjoys every moment of it. But she starts acting weird, and she begs him to stop, saying she is very ticklish. But we learn the real reason was she about to wet herself. Rentaro wins the third round, and Shizuka is the loser, so he looks forward to tickling her, wanting to hear how she laughs. But as he proceeds to tickle her, she remains silent, and she gets her device to say that she is laughing. He thinks that she looks adorable, so he continues to tickle her, as Inda and Akari watch them. Realizing that he hasn't lost yet, they want to tickle him back, so they become determined to win the game. But Shizuka wins the fourth round, and Rentaro is the loser, so she approaches him, but instead of tickling him, she pokes him and he starts laughing. As Akari wonders why she isn't taking this chance to feel him all over, Akari thinks he is attracted to Shizuka's timid behavior, and she thinks about how she flaunts her best features to grab his attention, seeing herself as a poser. Shizuka's natural charm is the complete opposite, so she thinks that Shizuka is an even greater threat than Inda. After the game, Rentaro goes to the bathroom, while Inda confronts Shizuka, knowing she is keeping her distance from Rentaro. She tells them that she is just a newcomer, so she wants to stay out of their way, but Inda reminds her that she is Rentaro's girlfriend, so there's no need to hold back, saying her behavior is annoying. She immediately apologizes. But Shizuka thinks there is nothing special about her, and she is afraid that Rentaro will compare her to them. They start to take a liking to her, thinking she is adorable, but she thinks that she is nothing compared to them. Akari assures her that Rentaro can see the beauty in her. Recognizing her as a fellow girlfriend, Rentaro observes them, thinking his plan went better than expected. We learn that when Shizuka was poking him, he realized that Inda was glaring at her. He thought that Inda wanted to fight her, but he believed that he should give them the chance to display their emotions. He is proud of how the girls handled the situation, and he returns to them, as Inda tells him that Shizuka should tickle him again, because she was holding back, and Akari encourages her to go for it. She realizes that they're trying to help her, thinking she should make their kindness count, so she approaches him, telling him that she wants to kiss him. They finally kiss, and Shizuka becomes flustered, but Akari also asks for a kiss, as she wonders if she is good enough for him, thinking she is nothing compared to Shizuka. But he tells her that he loves all of his girlfriends. He kisses her, making her happy, and he asks Inda if she also wants a kiss. She pretends that she doesn't, but she slides into position, and he tells her that she's cute when she's flustered. She pummels him, but he endures it, and she admits that she wants to kiss him, so he gives her one as well. He realizes that he has amazing girlfriends, thinking he doesn't deserve them, but they tell him that they feel the same way about him. The next day, Rentaro enters the classroom, where he meets a girl named Nano. He tells her that the exam results have been posted, asking her if she's going to check it out, but she tells him that it's a waste of time. Knowing she has secured the number 1 spot, as their eyes meet, they feel a shocking sensation, so he thinks that she must be one of his soulmates. He checks the results with his girlfriends, and we learn that they all did well. He looks at the number 1 spot. He is surprised to see that Nano got a perfect score. He asks the girls about her, so they tell him that she's a total nerd, saying she can answer any question they give her, and there are rumors that she isn't even human. During their biological class, Rentaro is paired up with Nano. He notes she is nothing like his girlfriends, because her elegance is on another level. he realizes that she is copying the answer from her textbook, because she thinks that practical exams are a waste of time, saying the scientists already know the answer. He tells her that the professor is watching, so she uses the microscope. But instead of checking out the specimen, she looks at her textbook, saying it's more efficient. He realizes that she behaves like a robot, and as he tries to slice the specimen, he cuts his finger, so he proceeds to rinse it, thinking about going to the nurse's office, but Nano tells him that there's no need, and she puts it in her mouth, causing him to panic. She explains that he doesn't need a disinfectant, because saliva is a natural source of it. Rentaro wonders if he's dreaming, and it also causes Inda to become upset. After class, Rentaro thanks Nano for helping him, but she tells him that she just wanted him to stay, because she needed someone to help her clean up. He wants to get to know her better, inviting her to go out with him, but she thinks that it's a waste of time, because it produces nothing of value, saying it won't improve her future prospects. He thinks that having fun is the meaning of life, but she tells him that he's delusional, saying he is wasting her time, so he starts to wonders if she really is his soulmate. That evening, we see Nano in her room, but she thinks about Rentaro, wondering why she helped him. She realizes that she has feelings for him, thinking it's distracting her, so she starts writing the exact value of pi, thinking it's the most efficient way to restore her focus, but she notes that it isn't working. Even though she has filled up the board, and written on many pieces of paper, she realizes that she is wasting time, thinking this is a problem. So next day, Nano tells Rentaro that she is in love with him, saying she wants him to be her boyfriend. He tells her that he wants to go out with her, but she turns him down, so he thinks that he has been pranked. She reveals that she wants to put an end to her feelings, because relationships only lead to marriage and pregnancy. Thinking romance between teenagers is meaningless, she tells him that she'll never go out with him, but he reveals that he is in love with her. He refuses to give up, and he asks her out, imploring her to give him a chance to win her over. A few days later, they visit an amusement park, and Rentaro is determined to convince Nano that love is meaningful, but she thinks that the activity is pointless, wondering why they're even doing it. She notes that he's holding on to an instant camera, knowing that it doesn't retain any data, so she thinks that it's a flawed device. He tells her to say cheese, but she asks him what he means, and he takes the picture anyways. They enter a haunted house, and Nano says that she doesn't believe in ghosts, as the ghosts try to scare them. She maintains her composure, saying they're only humans, so she wonders why Rentaro is afraid. She says that haunted house is full of humans, so they should call it a human house instead. As they ride the giant teacup, she thinks that whoever created the ride is insane, wondering why people line up to get spin around. She thinks it must be created to brainwash people. They enter a giant maze, where they encounter dead ends, as Nano wonders why the designer didn't just build the right path, thinking it only makes the customers' lives more difficult. At the Ferris wheel, Nano reveals that she is afraid of heights, so Rentaro sits next to her, and they hold each other's hands. They look at all the pictures they took, and Nano admits she has fun, but still thinks that it's a meaningless day. So Rentaro decides to burn the photos, saying they should erase it from their memories, but as he is about to burn it, Nano recalls that the camera doesn't store data, so they will lose all records of the event. She takes the photos, and Rentaro tells her she was afraid of losing them, because she gained something of value. She starts crying, as he tells her that enjoying good times makes their lives meaningful. She uses his handkerchief to wipe her tears, telling him that she will disinfect it before she returns it, and he wonders if she will use her saliva again, but she tells him that she will wash it. She says that she wants him to be her boyfriend, because she wants to spend more meaningful times, and Rentaro tells her that he loves her. So she kisses him, telling him that she'll fulfill her desire by any means necessary. Rentaro introduces her to the girls, and they don't make any objections, so he thanks them for accepting her, once again promising to commit seppuku if he doesn't treat them well, but Nano tells him that poison would be more effective. They think about going out together, and Akari is jealous Rentaro went to amusement park without her, so she suggests they go to a water park, wanting to have a beach episode. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.